I can start. I think we're all talking about the same thing. I think speed is going to be primary, regardless of what industry we're in. Right. In terms of innovation, I think that's going to be one of our key drivers. Right. But I think knowledge-wise, what we're finding in the food industry now is as people get more and more knowledgeable through the internet, then their expectations are getting more and more and more. They're now starting to find out about food and the qualities of food, what's good, what's not so good. And even although disposable income at certain times is tough, they still always want the best for their family. To give you an example, we're seeing huge growth at the moment around the organic, the free from, the less salt, the less sugar. So people are starting to change, and purely because they're now being more informed and they can make better decisions based on what they're actually reading about. And I think that's going to be the key going forward, is how quickly we can react in food retail to make sure that we can pass that knowledge and that information to them so they can make that calculated decision.
Now, I think one thing which is particularly true in the property space, when it comes to residential property in particular, transparency in both directions. I think it's not just, the obvious thing is people saying, okay, consumers want to understand a little bit more about developers and agents and who are the good agents and who can actually add value. I think that's a given. But actually what's interesting for us is actually even the agents and the developers are seeking more transparency in the process. They want to understand, for example, a developer wants to understand which agents are producing better for them. What do consumers really want? So this expectation, all of us are consumers at the end of the day. Yes. And our expectations are being shaped by a digital world. That's the world we live in. And there's transparency in every action that we take, whether it would be the brands that we prefer, the information that sort of influences the food that we eat, travel, hospitality, you name it. People are doing their research before they sort of pull the trigger. Real estate's the same. So it's coming down to trust and relevance. Can you provide relevant content at the right time to drive trust? And I wouldn't want to say it's just for the consumers. It's also for the developers and the agents. All stakeholders now expect transparency.
Going forward, there's a huge market that we're watching out for. And that's what Wu Zhong mentioned. You know, it is actually the millennials, the young executives. And it's huge. I find that it's not only happening in Singapore, but in Europe, in UK, in China. This is a huge market. And the moment the businesses are able to tap into the psyche of the millennials, what Wu Zheng's mentioned, you know, what are their needs, what do they want, that's a huge, big market. In our terminology, we actually call them the road warriors because, you know, more and more companies, of course, being very cost conscious, are sending out younger executives, but that's where the market is. They're traveling, they're moving, and they have different needs. And I again see the three different needs, you know. A, connectivity. You know, you gotta have connectivity with them. And even all our properties are now, you know, going into mega Wi-Fi speeds because that's what they need, you know. And then they're actually, there's a social need, you know, for them. So even food and beverage, you know, restaurants and all, we begin to see that many of them are traveling sort of singles, you know, and so they don't mind actually mixing around. So we begin to find that there are a lot of communal dining, you know, and those are the things that we kind of sense their needs and we kind of give to them. Yet at the same time, besides social, they're very individualistic, you know, and so we got to cater for that. And so we, you know, the properties that we have are more designer-based. They're very individual. It's anti-establishment. The moment you have a cookie cutter, forget it. You know, they're not going to fall for it. Behavior is different. I mean, example now, when you sleep, people charge their phone with a USB port next to your bedside. You know, when you listen to music, it's your own collection of music, and you Bluetooth it into the music system in the room. These are the next phase. I think that's the next big thing for businesses to really understand the millennial.
我还是站在这个商业地产的这个角度哈。现在在中国市场呢，商业地产可以说是一个爆棚的一个阶段。那么从综合体就有规模的购物中心，现在已经达到了4500家。那么整个现在的存量是非常大的。那么再有呢，就是已开业的购物中心呢，同质化比较严重，无论是从它的这个产品的这个设计各个方面都会是一致性比较强。那么第三个方面呢，就是大家都知道，现在电商对整个这个线下实体店的这种冲击。那么再有呢，就是消费者呢，他的消费的选择性越来越多了。那么消费呢也逐渐趋于这种成熟的这种状态，那么针对这样的一种情况呢，我觉得作为我们来讲呢，我们如何去冲破这样的一种这种局势？那么大悦城呢，在这方面呢，也确实是还是在从市场的角度，我们做了。有一个新的思路和想法那么现在也是开始操作了。比如说，我们利用这种轻资产、新技术、新创新的这种与金融公司合作然后利用基金的这种模式找这种比较有丰富的基金公司来跟我们合作。那么我们也是从原来购物中心传统的模式，从运营管理转化为这种资产的管理。那么所说的这个资产管理，就是我们现在推出的大资管的战略那么我们跟国内的几家基金公司有合作那么基本上也是几种方式我们在国内现在也是在不断的再去寻找一些适合大悦城的一些项目来操作。那么有3个方面吧，可以说有，比如说是这种收购的形式比如说有一些项目在经营过程当中遇到了一些问题，或者是遇到了一些瓶颈，我们收过来，然后通过大悦城的这种模式，然后我们进行改造。那么第2种方式呢，就是小股操盘。那么第1种模式呢，我们是占到51%的股份。那么第2种模式呢，就是小股操盘。这个小股操盘呢，就是也是跟基金来合作，第3方来合作，我们是占到20%到30%的股份。那么第3种模式呢，就是我们输出管理，我们不出费用然后这3种模式呢，都是用我们大悦城这样的一个品牌来操作。那么现在目前这种模式呢，前几天我们18号在北京开了这样的一个会议，在国内呢还是非常非常的轰动就好像我们之前几年每年大悦城做的主题一样就是还是在引领这样的一个市场。那么针对未来的这个商业地产呢，其实我们还是有空间就看你怎么样去做，怎么样去挖掘。
In online media, we monetize our website through digital advertising, right?
Right.
And in Indonesia, Google and Facebook control 70 to 80% of digital advertising money. So and they're growing actually faster than the rest of the websites on the internet. So their market share is getting larger. So what can online publishers do? I think this is the same theme with our panelists, which is differentiation, right? Facebook, Google, you can find a lot of weird, fun news online, but at the end of the day, you still care whether what you read is true and well written. So we, as a traditional publishers, high quality journalism matters, but we need to produce news and distribute news in a more creative way.